Hello and welcome everybody to a new year and a very first episode of 2025 of the Jam and Cheese Show. Cheese, how are we going, my friend? Actually, before we get into how you're going, thank you everybody that sent in their draft teams. Charlie is behind the scenes today, so next week he'll be back talking us through the best fan 17 team up against the draft. The White Knights was, embarrassed by Inter Milan on the poll.
What, your nan on the poll? What?
No, the team was called Inter Milan. It's the name of my fantasy team. Oh, yeah, Charlie just chirping up in the background. You don't have a mic, Charlie, so quiet, please. For all intents and purposes, Inter Milan were the best team on paper, and that was reflected in the votes until Charlie can otherwise respond. Thanks, everybody, for liking and subscribing. We know we've got some targets for that, so please keep that going away. Please keep reviewing the podcast. We've got a big year ahead, Cheese. We've got studio moving soon. We've got a studio set being designed. We're moving location. We've got you on next year. Going to be a big year for Brandon Smith. We've got Nathan Hindmarsh coming back. But geez, how was the festive period? It feels like
it was very festive. I can tell you that much. New year, new me. please. No, it was good. There was a lot of travelling over the Chrissy break. I went to Glenrowan, spent Ned Kelly territory. Spent Christmas with my partner's family. And then I went to Gold Coast, spent 3 nights in Gold Coast. That was very festive. It was actually Victor Radley's engagement party. He sort of proposed to his missus, and then we all went to a pub, like a nice pub, and we were not a pub in York, like a proper pub. And then everyone was there and sort of just surprised her when they come in. They were meant to be going through that. Was awesome, but there's a lot to take in. Then went to New Zealand, took my partner to Waiheke Island, the motherland, and then
nice spot.
Then my sister got married on the 5th. We were meant to be back on the 6th, so I had a day off pre-season, but I come back. Yeah, more so I had a headache for the last week of for the first week of pre-season. I think I had a headache, and now I'm absolutely flying. Today was my first day running on the grass. But yeah, it was. I actually had pure joy being able to run again. Yeah, and without pain, and just being able to get my legs straight and run. So
running a straight line.
Yeah, straight line.
Yeah.
I haven't put in any right foot steps yet.
I know we spoke about your injury last time you were on. It still boggles the mind that you're so far away from being able to play.
Tomorrow's 4 months since surgery, so I'm still five away.
Yeah, but how funny that recovery process is when your body is allowing you to run in a straight line now, but then any sort of movement and it's boom, you're gone. You're almost back to square one.
Yeah, so I only did like a little run, probably 40-meter runs, like jogging over. But it was just, pure joy being able to just be out there like with the boys and being able to just even though it's on the side of the field, just being able to run. And then I still went in and did like a Alter G sesh where they take the body weight off and ran a bit longer. But since it's my first day running, we'll see how the knee pulls up the next day though. That's the interesting one. It's you pushed yourself to do that. And now what's your body gonna say?
What is the response? Yeah, it's funny those little goals when you're injured, those little, I guess, new horizons of the ability to run.
Serial liar as well. And then physio, how's the knee? Oh, sweet. Even though it's
obviously a big year ahead for you. You will be moving clubs. Any?
Nothing official yet. Nothing official yet.
Negotiations are happening. Talks. Would you call them talks or negotiations?
I haven't had the negotiations, but there's definitely talks going. I would call them negotiations, but yeah, there's definitely talks happening behind the scenes, but not involving me.
Yeah. Have you got a sort of? I know we've spoke about this before.
Probably May. April, May. I'd like to have it properly sorted.
Yeah, nice.
But yeah, we'll see what happens. You never know. Jesus, you never know who might come. Tom Brady. He might want me at the NFL. So
You've got.
see what happens.
I'm sure you will have options. Jeez.
Mate, I mean, there's this Parramatta rumour went around for, mate, every one of my family members, every one of my mates, like, rang. So, mate, I haven't spoken to them at all. Like,
Yeah.
I don't even know if my manager has.
Well, it's funny, you can draw those links because it's pretty easy. You go, he worked with Riles. You could make a case that Parramatta need a number 9. It's like, oh, that's where it'll go. And I guess you're not going to get sued for libel for saying Brandon Smith. I reckon he's going to...
Yeah, I think it was like a Parramatta fan page, like, said it's official. Like,
they've gone with that.
yeah.
I mean...
I can't say anything to them.
The thing is, though, if you're the Parramatta fan page, like I said, I can connect the dots and go, we are going to sign him. So I'm going to say that we have. And if we don't, well, there's no consequence for me saying that we don't. But let's just say Parramatta do sign you. They look like they're in the know. They look like geniuses. They look like they've got an inside scoop. They've got a source that is, you know.
The Parramatta fan army.
Yeah.
Now everything they say is reputable.
Well, sometimes it pays to toss stuff out there and connect the dots, and sometimes it doesn't. It's been an interesting festive period for me. Just got back into Sydney about...
Where were you?
Went back to England. Yes, so...
That's a long flight.
Yeah, so was in England, spent Christmas, New Year around.
Can you sleep on flights?
Did
you get sleep on the flight is what I'm asking.
A little bit on the second leg, which is the leg you're not supposed to sleep on. Anyway, but yeah, went to England, was there, did some travelling, went to Budapest, which is...
Budapest,
yeah. That's how they say it.
Is that how they say it?
Yeah, it's not. It's
wow.
It's a thing about pronunciation of the Hungarian language, which I...
Budapest,
yeah.
It's like Barcelona.
Barcelona, Madrid. There's a pronunciation of... Yeah, Budapest by the locals. So I'm just trying to do the right thing by them. Went there.
So Hungary is that a Western place or is it?
Yes. Yeah. Only the one city in the country.
Because you can only pronounce Western countries with their accents. Like you can't like you can pronounce Italia or Francais but you can't say like. I don't want to say it, but like Beijing or New Delhi, you can't say it in their
native tongue.
In their thing, because people will be like, "What that, bro? That's so racist."
Yeah, well, I think Budapest you can roll with. Great country, loved it. Oh, great city rather, I should say. It was good. I enjoyed it there. Then went to back home for a bit, and then went to Venice, which.
Jeez, this is a bougie festive season.
It was. What do you mean by bougie?
Bougie, like you know, bougie, like fancy.
Oh no,
Venice, Budapest,
and then
mate, I thought I was celebrating. I went to Glenrowan, Gold Coast.
Yeah. Well, finished off in Paris, and did
and it continues.
So yeah, and then back to England. But mate, it's a funny.
Mate, that's a lot of travel for. A short break.
Yeah, it was only like 3.5 weeks. But mate, it's one of them where obviously growing up there, didn't go to all these places because it was like, why would I go to Budapest when I can go to the local pub? And that's a genuine thing. Like Aussies and Kiwis would come over and they'd be going all these places. You'd be like, you weirdo, the Hope and Anchor's going off on a Saturday. Like, why wouldn't you want to be there? Like, so who cares about this? Who cares about St. Mark's Square when you've got the Hope and Anchor into Panama Joe's, into Nexus, like, or you've got Concert Square?
I mean, I totally agree with you. I totally agree with you because every one of my mates on Waiheke has still get troubles going to Auckland.
Yes, exactly.
On the boat, like
so. That's the thing. But obviously, going away with children as well, it does change and. You know, how you see. I like, so in Venice, it's a bit mad. It's probably not the best kid place to go, with all due respect to Venice. But I did a running tour there, a 10K. This is how the holidays have changed. There was a boozy element towards the back end, but in Venice.
Well, did you do the running thing before the boozy?
No, running before. No, I didn't get on the booze in Venice.
Oh.
Like, I met some mates before I came back.
Talk me through what the hell a running tour is.
So, it was my very first time. So, have you ever done a walking tour of a city? Are you at that stage in your life where you do walking tours of the city? No. You're still at Hope and Anchor stage where you're like, where's the best place? Google best bars in Venice. Look, been there, done that, got the T-shirt, but it changes, right? So, I like to go for runs now. That's something I enjoy. I enjoy.
I did that in Gold Coast. Where's the best bar in Gold Coast?
Yeah, best night spot. Yeah, that's what you do. Yeah, I get it, man. And no judgment here, but so I like to go for runs. Venice, strange city, no obvious place to go for a run. So I Googled runs in Venice, and then there's this company that do like running tours. So I was like, well, and there was no obvious place to go for a run. I thought, I'll just do that. So I did this one-on-one run with this geezer.
One-on-one? Like, it wasn't like a group?
It wasn't even a group. And I've later found out this company, they've got this... It's everywhere. It's global. There's in Sydney, you can go on a running tour.
Yeah, like walking tour, there's usually a group, isn't there?
Yeah, walking tours, yeah. Yeah, it's
one-on-one.
One-on-one. And he's like telling me about all these places. Mate, honestly.
It sounds good. It does.
But mate, but in a place like Venice, you need it because there's no grassland there. There's no parks.
Yeah, there's a lot of water.
You just go for a run, and a lot of the streets are pretty nice. You don't know where you're going.
Mate, did he? You know when you run, did you like stop and like run on the spot while he's like explaining the stuff, or did you like run and like? You know what I mean?
It was a run and chat the whole way.
Yeah,
pretty
but did
much.
you like?
We had a few stops.
Did you like stop? Yeah, but when you stopped, it was like stop and talk. Not like
I wasn't jogging on. No,
like
I didn't
some
do
people
that.
do when they're waiting for bloody traffic, the traffic lights.
No,
just like standing there like that.
You know what? I'm not that type of person. So when I go for a run, if I have to cross lights, I will just gamble a lot of the time. Like it would not
jaywalk.
Is that
what you mean? J-jog. Sorry,
J-jog. There's a high probability that cause of death will be ran over in an attempted crossing because I'm really bad. I hate stopping, or I'll just run further up the road or turn back on myself. I'm not a stopper. Don't want to disrupt the rhythm of running, but. So Venice was good for that, and then Paris, Disneyland was draining. Kids just wanting everything.
It's cold in Paris now, eh?
Mate, freezing.
Mate, I remember because I went after the World Cup around this time, like around Chrissy time, and mate, it was that cold. I hated it. Like where the Eiffel Tower, they're getting the grass ready for the summer, so you can't really. Well, when I went, you can't really go and like sit on the grass and look at the Eiffel Tower and be romantic because it's just all the grass is just dug up and you have to walk around and just get.
Yeah, it is.
And there's a lot of rubbish in Paris. A lot of rubbish.
Yeah, there is.
Good food though.
Very good food.
Very good food.
Very good food. Preferred their food over Venice. Even in like Disneyland, the buffets were actually pretty good.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
that's very surprising.
Disneyland, then went back home to finish off the trip, and then there was a few boozy nights to finish the trip, and then there's nothing better than the night before.
Well, you deserved it after the run.
Oh man,
the run tour.
Man, I'm above
How
balance.
far did you run actually?
10K.
Oh, I can't run 10K these days.
Mate, 10Ks is sort of like take you about 50 minutes. We took a bit longer on this one.
That's
yeah. If I'm just going to go for a run, 8, 5, couple of 10s. That's what life's become. Cheese. When you're not playing anymore, you have to do these things for yourself, or you just go.
Not many people that are listening to the podcast can see that Jimmy's actually jacked at the moment.
After a 3-week, I really let myself go in the last weekend, and then. Flying back,
and you look healthy. You know your face isn't so red anymore.
Yeah, I feel like
it's going back to that natural pale look.
Yeah, I feel like I'm really glowing on the inside now. One of the kids got sick on the flight, so Mrs. had to stay over in Dubai.
She's still there now. Oh, yeah, that's why you have to go pick them up to.
Yeah. So it was quite an eventful flight. But it's been a great time. Love being home for Christmas, friends, family, all that jazz. Yeah, now we're back. We've got plenty of news to
we better get into the footy stuff.
We have missed some news, but I think one of the things dominating the headlines at the moment is the Madge Maguire start to Brisbane. Now, as soon as Michael Maguire was announced as the Brisbane Broncos coach, I mean, we know why he was brought in, but this is going to, his methods, anything coming out of the camp is going to grab headlines because the Brisbane Broncos are always a big news story. And with Michael Maguire now coming in the circumstances that he did, we know it's going to generate more interest, more commentary, both positively and negatively. So Maguire can be accused of being old school in his approach, and there are some suggestions out there that army camps are a thing of the past.
Yeah, I think this is like a blown up story for the fact that you just said that. Like anything Michael Maguire does is going to have a spotlight on it. Many teams have gone on army camps this preseason. Yes. Many teams have done this.
Correct.
And like,
do you reckon? All right, 17 NRL teams.
I reckon 10.
What's your plus minus? You reckon
10-7.
10-7.
I know Melbourne for sure every year.
Yeah. 10-7 split. I reckon. If Ladbrokes are listening, they're giving. I reckon either 9.5 or 10.5 on the under overs.
Yeah. And I don't think it's army camps are designed to find out who's mentally tough or teach you mental tough, but it's not for me. In the army camps that I've gone on with multiple teams like Roosters last year, Melbourne a few years back. Like the stories that come out of the army camps that bring your team together. That's what I find is the most rewarding thing about doing those army camps. They're hard, but it gets to a point where, and when you're training, even in preseason, it gets to a point where, mate, this is so hard, it's just funny now. You know what I mean? And I've told stories about the army camp I went on last year with Roosters to multiple of my friends, and just it brings a togetherness to the team. When you've gone through such hardships, for example, what I think about, if you go to war with someone, and you both come home, that's one of your best mates now. You know what I mean? You've been in the trenches with this guy. He's one of your best mates. You've had his about. You've done all this hard work, and I feel like that's something that Michael Maguire is trying to get from the army camps, and it's to push you to your brink of your performance, but also bringing together a culture and a bond within a team.
It's mutual suffering.
Yeah,
that's what it does.
Yeah.
Everybody is suffering together. Everybody is going through the same hardship. You find out you can go to places that you never imagined you previously could.
Exactly.
And some of that is brought about by the simple thing of a sleep deprivation. So when people talk about elite team performance, it's different groups at different stages in their team development and their situation need something or would benefit a 3-4 day army camp. They really would. Some teams, however, and some athletes certainly wouldn't. You could see that would be a drain on them, that they would respond in a negative way. We don't need this. We're an elder group, or even the other athletes. So, for example, like Usain Bolt or old mate, the Aussie sprinter Gout. He's never going to do an army camp.
Yeah.
But in a rugby league team, in a collision sport,
where you rely on someone next to you.
Exactly. That's my point. It's like going on something like that together outside the four walls of the training camp might just be really beneficial.
Yeah, you look to the guy to your right, go, mate, I've been in the trenches with him. Yeah. I know he's going to have my back in this, in this tackle. I know he's going to fill the space.
It builds trust as well because we've done that together, and we had each other's back then. And also, I go into the field knowing that I know what this guy's been through. And sometimes it's maybe just used as a bit of a break from the monotonous aspect of going to the same building every day and you know you're going to be there again. And I know a lot of teams, they draw lessons from these camps and themes from these camps that they will use at different stages throughout the season. Boys, it's just like when day 2, when this happened. Yeah. It's what it's designed to do. Mate. And are they for everybody? No, but then you find out some things on those style of camps.
So like sometimes I went on camp with Harry. Like sometimes I still call him Yellow One. Like we would walk past we're Yellow One and I was Green One, and it's just something that like I've forever got a bond with Harry over this, because we on that army camp we were like the sort of like the older ones, because the young fellas come through and just every single thing we did would be like, Yellow One, how you going? And there's Green One, how you going? And then I feel like that was like the first introduction to me and Harry's relationship. Yeah. And then it just grew over time. And then at 2021, when we were, sharing the hooker role, it just was a really beautiful thing that we had, shared together. We'd done the army camp together. We built this great bond. And I knew straight away, anytime I was on the field with Harry, I could trust him. You know what I mean? And then it happened this year with all the Roosters boys. I've seen Radley, I've seen how hard he works on these army camps. I've seen how crazy Jared's work ethic, and you just have nothing but respect. And I think the only thing, like Melbourne was smart, is they didn't ever let Jerome do it because he had back problems. So I think, I don't think it's so much mental strain on the body. Like you get your big break after these army camps.
It's not the physical strain. Yeah. It's the mental side.
But I can understand. I completely agree with what Madge is doing, and I can understand. Even though I know he's a lunatic of a coach.
Well, I think, geez, when you look at the Broncos season of 2024, it's clear that they need...
Yeah, they lacked hardness.
They needed a shock. They need something, whether it was Kevy Walters there or whether it was Madge Maguire. This pre-season, every pre-season for every club is important, but this pre-season could make up... clearly something needed to shock that team into focus, into the start of the season, because it clearly wasn't there. I point to that example all the time of when Carrigan scores in that derby game against Redcliffe. And they let each other down time and time. They let their coach down, they let their team down. And maybe that's a mental thing from the grand final and what could have been. It seemed to spiral and get worse. And I think if Kevy Walters is still there, they're doing some form of discipline style camp. A new coach comes in, whether that's Michael Maguire, whether that was Billy Slater, whoever it would may be, they're doing something outside of the usual training block. That's just, it almost needed to happen. And some of the criticism of Maguire, which I understand about, he's broken people and he's maybe he's not a coach that is interested in the...
making you feel good.
Either making you feel good, or what you think is feel good, or your 12-year career. Like Michael Maguire, Reece Walsh is what, 23, 24? He's probably not that interested, with all due respect, about the physical shape of Reece Walsh when he's 30. Yeah. Michael Maguire knows he's going to be at Brisbane for 4 years, and it's up to him, with Carrigan as well, with Payne Haas, who's going to have a long career in the game. Michael Maguire needs to squeeze as much juice out of those players for 25, 26, 27, maybe 28. You know what? In all likelihood, he won't be there anymore, and that's not going to be his problem. And you know what? I respect even people like Todd Payton, who's said these things about, no, Jason, it's his long term. You know what? I don't know if I agree, because your job as the coach, and it's... You get used, and you know what, geez, I've been used by coaches before because they've got to squeeze some more juice out of me. They're not particularly interested in the long-term James Graham health metrics, and that's fine. He's got to squeeze as much juice out of me he can, because we're living in the moment. We're living year by year. That coach, because as well, when it comes to it, their neck's on the chopping block more than mine. More than the players.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah, why wouldn't you want to squeeze every bit of juice that you got at the time? Like, if you're going into the, later in your career, like, are you thinking back as like, oh, why'd I save myself? Why did not? What?
Never.
You know what I mean? Like,
never.
I got my bung knee. I'm sore. After trainers I've made, I wish I would have just like gone less when I was at Melbourne. I wish I would have saved my body a bit. You're not thinking that at all. So why would you not want to attack every single day, like, and get every bit of yourself you can? And you're 100% right. Maguire is a coach that wants you to do that.
Yeah,
and
that'll be someone else's problem.
And you're going to learn under him. It's either do it or you're going to get taken away.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
but look, again, the strategy of Maguire is going to come under the microscope because of his latter years at South Sydney, his years at the Tigers, and because Brisbane are the low-hanging fruit of the NRL for this year. If it goes well, if it doesn't go well,
it's an unfair comment to make to him, because I know I've seen already people, like, other teams have done army camps, so it doesn't make any sense why we'd judge this one club for doing an army camp and not judge any other club. Yeah,
and I think as well, you'd like to think Maguire would know that. I've heard people like Seabold speak before about probably underestimating the microscope style of viewing Brisbane Broncos have in the media, in the punditry, in the comments box.
I just feel like their comments are, the whole thing they think about army camps is we're trying to break you, but it's so much more than that. It's so much on a deeper level about camaraderie and mateship and all those things that build a team that want to play for each other
and suffering
mutual suffering.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think a lot of people that respect it. I don't think Buzz has played a lot of games of rugby league. I don't think people that don't play this game understand how important those things are.
And also in the immediate, incredibly difficult. You are looking for. You're looking for to be saved, but then you look back and you think, well, how good's that? Like, I'm back in the mixer. I'm back now. I'll take benefits from that hardship. That I'll be able to look back and rely on. And we are back. So Cheese, we were talking all things Brisbane before that little unplanned interruption.
I don't want to say what happened to the viewers. I think Jimmy has to explain that one.
No, my daughter just needed the bathroom. Didn't know you needed the key. Just popped a squat. Charlie said, "I think you need to go outside." I was like, "Oh, okay." She's like, "Oh, I just thought I'd go."
I thought that was Charlie leaving the room. I was like, "This."
Oh well. Anyway, she. I opened up the bathroom for her, so all is good. Thankfully, it was just a wee.
I just went out there.
Just on Brisbane, Ezra Mam, the punishment from the NRL was handed down. 9-game suspension. Again, it's going to draw a lot of comment because people. You're not going to be able to please everybody. 9 games. Is it enough?
Is it enough? I probably don't agree, but it's what NRL have given, and I'm not going to sit here and dwell on.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I'm not going to sit here and dwell on whether NRL made the right decision or wrong decision. It's just accept the consequence of what he's done and move forward, and hopefully he can come back and be good for the team. But
the fact that it's 9, like an odd number, as opposed to an even number,
raises suspicions. I think they couldn't have gone because of the Spencer Lenu. They couldn't have gone the exact same 8 weeks.
You think that? You know what? Geez, you make a very good point. Because if they go, that's the. Yeah, you know what?
Yeah,
you're right. Maybe they looked at it and said that this needs to be. It needs to be different.
What was the biggest
and obviously higher?
What was the biggest suspension? John Hopewadi, was it? Or Danny Williams? I know it's one of those two. It was like 17 weeks was John Hopewadi.
Yeah.
I think Danny might have been 18.
No,
I
think yeah, Darryl Broman. Yeah. I think there's been acts of foul play.
What's that?
Like Les Boyd, who was recently inducted into the Hall of Fame, basically
Was this
flew
Super
out the
League?
line. Oh, no, before that.
Ugh.
But I think am I right in thinking? Yeah, 9-month suspension.
Holy.
But I think there's been incidences where the game came down really hard on those acts of foul play. I guess there's been players suspended with mandatory years because of like doping violations and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean,
Off the field.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
The Carney one. He got sacked.
He got rubbed out of the game.
The Pierce one.
He got the lifetime ban.
Yeah. So, look, I still think there's probably some public anger directed towards, the court more than anything, as opposed to the NRL sanction. But I think it's probably time for people to move on. But interesting point what you made about they couldn't match the Lenu suspension. Yeah. Like you're probably right. There has been a conversation at head office, and we just can't have it the same. Yeah. It's got to be.
I reckon because if they didn't do the same, it'd be a little bit of an uproar. I reckon.
I think you're probably right. What else have we missed? Leo Thompson signed for the Dogs.
There you go.
Pretty good news for all
the Dogs of War,
Bulldogs fans, members. I'd said previously where this, although it's a very rich deal, with the age of Leo Thompson,
potential, yeah,
it's got the potential to be not a bargain, but a good value for the Dogs. You think of the top front rowers that would be earning the 1.1s in those peak years, or the $1 million contracts for the likes of Tino for Sular Malaawe, Payne Haas, Fisher Harris. If he
I don't know what he signed for, so
I think it was around the 8. So if you go, okay, those top front rowers, and he's not there yet, but he has the potential to. Yeah. But he signed on those years.
Well, he's an international player.
Yeah, he signed at those years where you play at your, generally speaking, your best. Yeah.
I'd be happy to pay.
Yeah. Great move for the Dogs to
not out of my money.
Yeah,
but
yeah. He's not coming signing for the Parramatta or anything like that. So, but great news for the Dogs. They've been in the market for that alpha male middle leader forward for quite some time, and they've got their man. So a lot of expectation and some thorough planning there from the Bulldogs to get that over the line, get him done. We've seen, unfortunately, Heilum Luki succumb to an ACL injury. Matt, what about that, Paul? I know you are going through that as well, but this is I think second or third?
I don't know what it is, but I know he got back from one last year.
Yeah.
And he only played and he played well too.
Mate, he was actually a member of my fantasy team. I went with Jeremiah and Nane. But I think Heilum Luki. Oh, did he have Luki? Yeah. I mean,
yeah, that's a huge blow for the Cowboys because he was really good in the back end of that season there. But yeah, just
a young player to get at least their second. Far from ideal, because one of the greatest predictors of injury is previous injury. So unfortunately, he's in that high risk category, and he could, he'd be doing everything in his powers not to be that player where they'll be remembered for. And he's got a decade ahead of him.
That's the fortunate thing.
That's the worry where it's like he's already he's known as an injury prone player that's got potential, and you just.
I wonder what surgery he got. Did he get hamstring or quad tendon or?
I'm joking.
No, the tendon, like hamstring tendon, quad tendon, or patella tendon.
Yeah, I'm not too sure. One of your old teammates, for
Tohu Harris.
Melbourne. Yeah.
The walking zombie. Have you ever met Tohu Harris?
I want to say yes, I will have met
You were
him.
like met him. Like, he's a proper zombie.
Is he?
Yeah.
In what
Banger,
way?
they call him. Mate, he's an absolute legend of a bloke, but he's just like half asleep most of the time. But he's not, but it just seems like he's half asleep. But yeah, he is one of those rare players that like left Melbourne and probably went better. Yeah. Like got better. Like this. Yeah, one of him.
Sorry, Cheese.
Laugh harder.
Yeah.
What the?
The jokers are, yeah. Well, so who's left Melbourne and kicked on? So you got Tohu Harris, Dale Finucane,
but yeah.
Can you think of anyone
anyways,
else,
on
Charlie?
to the next. Mate, but he was.
Tino.
I'd seen Tohu like around after, and mate, his body was actually.
Yeah.
But he's just he's such a great player. Like, he was such a good player for the Warriors, and it's sad to see him go like that. I wonder if he got a medical payout, knowing him, he probably did.
No, I think he get a proper medical retirement, so his contract is guaranteed. One of the great benefits that the players have over here, but also just think about how much money the Warriors are going to save on strapping tape, because it's not cheap. It is not cheap. Like, mate, they unfortunately, hopefully it doesn't go off strapping tape, because if you're the Warriors, like if you're the physio there, you're buying extra tape because you're looking after the walking zombie. You go like now. They might not get through that for another couple of years. The amount, like, you see him in a game. Yeah,
mate, he's a sore man. Like, you see him walk around like normally, he just looks sore. And it was interesting when he said about it's not just my footy life; it's my day-to-day life. As I'm in pain. So
you know what? I think that.
And do you reckon he wishes he saved himself? I don't think he does. That 2017 grand final. I don't think it. I think he squeezed everything out of himself. He won a competition, and he'll be able to remember that for the rest of his life.
Yeah, and like you say, he's paying a price for that now. And even reading the interview that he gave around, I'm in pain day to day. It's tough to hear that, but he probably. I'm not going to speak for him.
I don't think he changed anything.
I don't think he changed anything, and he lived with that pain, and it's almost like a bit of a tattoo, a scar.
Yeah.
But I think as well the point I'm trying to make is the fact that, like, it's probably not realised just how much pain some of these players are in, and how they push their bodies. And we and even myself in the role of being a pundit, a critic, but it's like, some of these blokes are living in pain, like you
forget. Since you've retired, the sports science in rugby league has gone, 10 times higher. And we've got so much availability at the club. If you want it to perform, be able to last a long time in the game, if you've got the discipline to go in, do your stretching, do your prehab work before training starts, do your ICs after training. Like, we've got so much available right now that you can have a long career with not so much pain, but like, you can have a long career compared to the people like the old guys, the older generation where they'd rock up and have some bungers in the sheds and then go to training. Like,
I think as well there are some people that have a genetic disadvantage, and some have genetic advantage.
Yeah, for sure.
But also sometimes because it was his wrist injury, which again, maybe there's just not as much research put into like recovery from wrist injuries. You think of the shoulders, the knees, like there's a mountain of evidence there, but with wrist, they're not as common, or maybe it's just the structure of those bones or that part of the body, the limb, is more susceptible to when it is injured. It doesn't look good. Where or the surgery, because I think he said he went for surgery, but it just didn't work. But most of the time, was
it ligament or? Maybe he's lacking in copper
or zinc.
I think, yeah.
But to be fair, you know, what a player! Like what a player to push through during those difficult circumstances. And yeah, I think unfortunately he doesn't get the ceremonial send off that he deserves, and that's an unfortunate side.
Knowing
of
him, I don't think he would want that.
No, but I know you're saying, Cheese. And same happened with Dale Finucane, who retired from the game in strange circumstances, and he didn't want the fanfare. Yeah, but we have ceremonies for a reason, because both of those players have served the NRL, won competitions over here, and whether they like it or that, Josh Jackson was another one, and he would have hated it. But it's like, hang on a minute. You deserve this moment
to be celebrated,
of recognition, of celebration, and you might walk and you've got your head down and sort of gaze a little bit. You know, Josh Jackson, Tohu Harris, Dale Finucane, they're not the types of guys to be like lapping it up, like doing all this, clapping above their heads, but
not like us, Jimmy.
Just pumping the chest like, it's for you. Kissing the badge. You're doing all that jazz.
Crying.
They're not those type of people. But it's unfortunate that they've not that, and there'll be plenty of other players as well that just don't get that emotional send off, that that moment to be recognised in the usual way. No. Like going through the emotion of, I'm playing my last game today, and everybody else knowing it, and having your family there, and all that, all the stuff that go into the final game of some people that play the game, represented their country and the state for a long time. It is unfortunate. We are probably running out of time because you got to get back to work soon, don't you, Cheese? So back to pre-season training. But just quickly, Daly Cherry Evans being reported that he won't play for Queensland this year. He's going to focus on Manly. It's an
interesting one for Queensland too.
It is. Where do they turn to? Because obviously Walker's not there.
Benny Hunt's going to have to come in.
Well,
there is not a lot of.
I think if you're the Broncos, you're going. You're having words behind closed doors saying, Slater, can you get into DCE? Because you don't want Ben. Like, you would have even thought that maybe Ben Hunt was on the same track as DCE, where he doesn't want to do it. Like Queensland and their halfback options are now looking, scary.
Well, there's Tom Dearden. He's not really a halfback.
No, he's more of a
I mean, you could go Tom Dearden Munster.
Yeah.
But with the Turbo thing, I think it's interesting. I mean, there's Munster, someone we just mentioned, he made the transition from fullback to 6.
Yeah.
But arguably different players, very different players.
Yeah.
Darren Lockyer, he made the transition, very different players.
Yeah.
I just think with a lot of, and it's just my opinion, but a lot of Turbo's injuries, he's had a shoulder injury, elbow injury. He's going to have to learn how to make a lot more tackles. Yeah. He's going to go from 2 tackles a game to 30 tackles a game.
Cover less ground, so like that the hamstrings won't.
I don't know, because Sam Walker probably does the most
high speed running
in our team.
Really?
And he's a half. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's interesting. I think with Turbo, his style, he's always going to be that person that will support a break or make a break. So
is it as easy when you've made 30 tackles, though?
Well, no, it's not. But in terms of that high-speed running, you're probably right, because I don't think Turbo is going to become that creator if DCE moves on and then Brooks goes to 7. I can't see Turbo being all of a sudden a first receiver 5'8" on a left-hand side, like running the shape. From what I've
and the kicking game.
Yeah, he's more of a person that's suited to be out the back of shape to execute a 3-on-2, and that is usually off the back of like gunning it forward or linking through the middle of the play. He's that style of player.
Yeah. It's sort of. I feel like NRL though, it's sort of gone away from like, this is your side, this is your side.
Yeah, but I mean, no, I don't mean the side of the field that he.
Yeah, but I think like if Turbo wanted to, he could be out the back of most shape.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
Yeah, but it's a lot of admin, I tell you what.
Different situation to the fullback. For me, Manly are probably in the predicament of a lot of clubs where they've got this young lad, this Lehigh Hopewata, who's a gun.
Oh, yeah, forgot about him.
That they need to get playing fullback, basically. But then how do you deal with not even the legend? So the Cowboys went through it with Ponga.
Yeah.
And I think it was Matty Bowen there at the time.
Nah, Lachlan
Cootie.
Lachlan
Coote. Was it Coote? Was Bowen?
Because I was there at the same time.
Yeah.
It was Lachlan Coote.
All right, well, Cootie, good mate of mine, good bloke, like him a lot.
Ponga out.
But, yeah, did.
Yeah.
But they probably couldn't, maybe they couldn't squeeze Thurston in the or Bulldogs. They had Thurston where they just couldn't keep him. And it was Sherwin that was there, and there was and I think maybe
I just
Braith.
feel like, and you just go look at Lehigh Hopewadi's performances for Tonga.
Yeah.
Tonga, they nearly won the Pacific Championship.
But also with they can't afford to let Hopewata go.
That's what I mean. But you just look at his performance. You go, how can this guy not be a starting fullback? And if they don't give him what he wants, he's gonna fit into most clubs.
And for him, he'd look at like Pappenhausen's re-signed, so that puts Farlongo. He'd be circling. So clubs are, if they're looking for a fullback, they're probably going Farlongo or Hopewata, because we'll turn Hopewata's head. And Manly won't be able to match. You can't have Trbojevic on 1.1 and Hopewata on 900.
Yeah.
If he's playing
wing,
centre or wing, it's just not going to happen. They're in a.
But has Turbo come out and said he wants to play 6? Or not wants, but he's all right.
Oh man, Turbo seems like the type of guy that would just be like, I'll play anywhere. But where's actually? I think he did it. He played centre, didn't he? So he played centre for like one game, and then I think Hopewata got injured. But it'd be interesting to see.
They won that game.
Be interesting to see what Manly do. It's going to be very difficult to even just retain them both and keep them both happy. And obviously with DCE, it's not good for Queensland if he's not up for it this year. But Cheese, I'll let you get to work, mate.
Thank
it's been
you.
Great to catch up with you, shoot the shit, and
yes,
yeah, hopefully we'll have some signing news that where it needs to be broken.
Yeah, same podcast, just better.
Just better. All right. Cheers, guys. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.